Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you another video. All right, so a lot of talk has been had over the last hour or so about the Lakers possibly wanting to trade up to get a higher pick, targeting Kobe Buffkin. Am I good with that? Hell yeah, I'm good with that. Hell yeah, I'm good with that. I told y'all from the beginning that if we walk out of here with all three of the Kobe's, you've won the draft. It's okay to go corny with this situation because at the end of the day, Kobe Buffkin's one of the best point guards in the draft, and we need a point guard. He doesn't really have a whole lot of you know holes to his game. That's what everybody's saying about him. Everybody has holes in their game, but he apparently is one of those guys that can shoot, rebound, score, all three levels, play some defense a little bit. Has all types of different stuff to his game that allows him to be a facilitator and all different other stuff. Long arms. So he's basically one of the top pure point guards in this draft. Um, I have him hovering around 13, going 13. So if we can secure maybe if we can get lucky enough to get like the 11th pick, 12th pick, I think you can secure yourself a real shot at Kobe Buffkin. I hope the Lakers have their eyes on more than one player in that range because you may not get Kobe. For all I know, Kobe Buffkin goes 8 to Washington. You just don't know. So I hope that the Lakers, like I do, love about four players in that range and be happy if they land on any of them. Because that's really how I'm looking at it. I just want one of them top point guards. Kason Wallace, um, Kobe Buffkin, who else? Grady. He's not a point guard, but he's on the list. Um, Stuart Thompson, Black, Amon Thompson if he happens to fall. Some people think he's actually going to fall all the way to like 8. I don't think so. I don't think he goes past 4 to be honest. But this is what's possible. Everybody obviously wants the cream of the crop point guard, which is Scoot Henderson, but I don't think we can. We don't have no package to get him. But as far as us trading up, maybe taking 17 and Beasley and something like that, Mbamba maybe to a team that would otherwise want to get rid of some salary and also has a pick. Maybe that's possible. I don't know who that would be necessarily. Probably the Pacers, honestly, but they don't necessarily have the pick that we would want to take. Maybe we can trade with them for get 7, their 7th overall pick, but I am very certain that they have their eyes on somebody there. So the likelihood that they're going to want to trade out of that range and risk not getting that player, I don't think it's very high. I think they want either Jarris Walker or Hendricks or what's his name, Cam Whitmore. They want one of those 3 players in Indy, in my opinion. I think they'll be happy with the Sore Thompson. I think they'll be happy with Black, but I think they're going after that power forward position, and I'm pretty sure they're able to land their guy if they don't trade out of the range. So if you ask me, the likelihood of them giving us 7 is slim to none. Absolutely slim to none. I haven't heard anything about that pick being on the trade block unless the Pacers are planning on trading up. It's the only way I would see that. I'm trying to figure out if there's a team I want us to pay attention to who may be willing to trade a pick. I think Utah. I think Utah might be willing to move on from one of their picks. They might. Not to say that I'm certain they would, because that's Danny Ainge, and he ain't giving up nothing for nothing. But just looking at what they have versus what it is they could do, I could see him packaging 2 for 1, trying to get himself. I personally think Cam Whitmore is the best guy for the Jazz. I said it 106 times. I really believe that. I just don't know how they would otherwise get him unless they try to trade up because I don't think he's falling to 9, which is where they would need him to fall. I've heard he slipped some, though, but he ain't going to slip that far. So if they want him, they're going to have to make a deal with Orlando or somebody to get him. And I don't know that they have their mindset on him getting him that seriously. I think I have it that way, but maybe not the Jazz. I think they'll be happy with Hendricks. They'll be happy with Grady. They'll be happy with Asur. They'll be happy with Amin. It's a lot of stuff Utah can do with their team because they have the shooting to make it so that they can bring in a non-shooter, so to speak. Black would be great for them if he falls there. Hood Shafino, all of those guys, Kobe Buffkin, all of those guys could go to Utah. So they're a wild card for me at 9 because I think they're just going to get whoever slips. They probably already have that in their head too. Likely Thompson, probably Asur. He'll probably slip. If I'm going to guess one guy slip, either Hendricks or Asur. And so if that's the case, then we're looking at a situation where you could potentially see them probably just take that player and just be done with it. But I would see if they want to move around. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I hope that we're able to pull that off, man. I would love to add Kobe Buffkin to this situation. And I told you guys, I think it was last night when I was telling you about Nick Smith, who's also on the range, in the range for us to get a 17. Although we could probably trade down and still get him. Why would I not see us as a team that wants to go after Kobe Buffkin when he and Kobe Buffkin are pretty much similar in a lot of ways? It's almost like, as I used to say, Austin Reeves and Josh Giddey. You know, they were drafted at the same time, or more or less. Obviously, Austin was undrafted, but they came in at the same time, same height. Giddey's a higher level, but Austin was still very awesome. You clearly see that from day one. That's kind of how I look at Nick Smith and Buffkin. Buffkin's on a higher level, but not that much, and don't be surprised if he catches him at some point down the road. But on a draft day, it's definitely clear that Kobe Buffkin's the higher draft prospect. Um, but I just think the Lakers would be happy with either one of them, low key. I think they would be. I think the Lakers would love to put a player like that on the team because it just looked like it kind of fits with our overall team energy, overall team personality. Nick Smith just looked like he fits in. Kobe Buffkin also, to me, looks like a guy who would fit right in. Um, I think most people probably want Kason Wallace, though. If you're trading up, the guy you have above Kobe Buffkin, and a lot of people do, is Kason Wallace. But some people also think Kason could fall to 17, so you might look crazy trading up and getting him because his range goes anywhere from 6 all the way to 17. Now, I never seen nobody let him drop past us because we probably bet not, but I think that's about as far as he falls. I think the likelihood that we get Kason Wallace 50-50 as it pertains to where I think he could go. 50-50, really. I think he's likely to go ahead of where we're at, but I also think it's a lot of guys that are slipping ahead of him and around him. A guy like Bilal Coulibaly, his value has made it so that you have a little more likelihood that you'll see him. Jalen Hood-Schifino, with him moving up a little more likely you see Kason fall somewhere around where we're at. Then again, there's people who love him at Utah. They got people who love him at New Orleans like I do. You got people who love him going to various different teams. Orlando might want to pair him up with Jarris Walker, try to get two of the best defensive players in the draft, maybe Amon. You know, I think it's a slight chance that both of the Thompson twins may be available to Orlando. It's very slight. It's extremely slight in my opinion, but I think the possibility of it isn't something you should rule out. Because Orlando is at 6 and I believe at 11. 6 and 11. And if for some reason people aren't believing Ausar, although I think people actually do, he could fall to 11. I don't see a men falling to 6 necessarily, but I've seen it mocked a couple times. I've seen it mocked a couple times. And naturally I have Ausar going to Orlando in my mock at 6. I got them taking him early. But if for some reason Amen is there at 6 and they happen to get him, if Ausar's draft stock goes about as low as people expected, worst case scenario, they could get him at 11 too. They can get his brother at 11. So that's something to think about. I think the chances of that happening are probably like 6%. I don't really think that's probably going to happen. But if I were an Orlando fan, I would think it's a small chance that we could actually keep the Thompson twins together. And I think whatever team drafts them probably should consider they probably will be better together. A lot of the plays that they made were off of one another. So if I'm Orlando, I'm giving that some thought. I am definitely giving that some thought. Because if they get one of them, they're the only team that could possibly get the other one. Everybody else has just got to live without the other one. But not them. Not them. So that's something to think about. And, yeah, man. I told you guys I think Miller would be great in Houston. I think there's any time they get a chance to get a shooter, I think it's not a bad thing. Houston could use some more shooting, some more shot making. Dallas, it's a lot of teams that I'm considering. I don't know what they're going to do. Golden State, now that they've moved on from Jordan Poole, I'd imagine that's going to shake up what it is we're looking at for them in 19. I had them taking Ryan Rupert as a defensive player that can kind of give them some of what it is that maybe they're not going to have if Draymond leaves, but I don't think Draymond's leaving now that Jordan's out. They got the money there. I wonder if they continue to trade young players. Now that Jordan Poole's out of here, the only one I really thought that they should trade otherwise is Kuminga. He's the one to move next. You package Kuminga with 19, and you could probably move up in the draft pretty significantly, depending on how people feel about Kuminga. You throw a Moody on there, you might be able to move up even further. Mess around, get top 10 pick. I mean, I'd try calling Dallas, see if they're interested. See if they're interested in doing a little something for those players. Maybe bringing a pick. They could use a guy like Kuminga. They could use a guy like Moody, Patrick Baldwin. Try to take number 10 from them. Just hand them 19. Dump some more salary off on them. I read somewhere that Steph Curry is not happy about the Golden State Warriors not getting anything for both Jordan Poole and Wiseman. I don't know how much validity that holds, but if there's any indication that Steph Curry is unhappy, that is something to take very seriously. Very seriously. And that's what I wanted to just throw out there. That's a nugget that I read. I don't know if it holds any validity or not, but I have to ask myself, did they get nothing for Wiseman? I believe so. Then I ask myself, did they get anything for Poole? They made Poole an unvaluable player. That's the problem. That's what I would tell Steph. It's like, it's not that they didn't get nothing for Poole. It's that they paid him to where he wasn't worth anything. It's God's honest truth. You just pay him too much than what it is that he's going to do, and now you have a dead asset. Because it's never going to live up to value, and people going to recognize that and not give you nothing for him. And that's exactly what happened there. So, yeah, that was just a bad investment that they probably should not have moved on from. If you want to know the truth, Steph Curry, they probably should have moved on from Clay and Dre and kept Jordan Poole and let him develop into what it is that they want him to be. Because 2 years from now, if he's not an injured player, he's likely playing better than he did right now, as to which you're getting a better price tag for that contract. So that was probably an ill-advised move. They're going backwards on their timeline because they want to keep Steph's guys together. The problem is, if what I read is true, Steph was not trying to do that. he wanted to go young. Or at least get more for those guys, as to which he wanted their asset managed better. Those assets managed better. I don't know if Steph Curry's going to want to finish his career without Myers in place. I don't know. Because the way things are going right now, the Golden State Warriors, they have a chance to do something good. They got a real chance, but if they're holding on to Chris Paul, I read somewhere they said they think Chris Paul is going to run their offense better than Jordan Poole. I'm like, why the hell do you need to even consider somebody running your offense when you got Steph Curry and Draymond Green? Why are you bringing somebody for that? That's not what I think the team is thinking. I think that's what the person who wrote that is thinking. But if that is what the team is thinking, don't think that. You don't need Chris Paul for anything except to be waived to create cap space for yourself. That's the only thing Chris Paul really does for the Golden State Warriors. Anything having him taking on a role at $30 million a year is misguided. He has not been that player in 4 years. Stop playing. Especially for a team with a point guard. Are you crazy? Let's not even consider that. Mike Dunleavy, I know you're better than that. I know you're better than that. I will hear none of the sort that he actually plans on bringing Chris Paul in for a real role. I will hear nothing of it. I won't believe that. So, yeah, that's maybe what's being said, but ain't no way in hell. No. So that's what I have to say about that. Chris Paul in Golden State that's not a thing. He's going to be waived, I believe. And if he's not going to be waived, then they're doing something very wrong. And we're going to find out about that midway through the season when they're not very good of a team. So, yeah, that's what I think of that move. What else? Is there anything else I could consider? I'm just ready for the draft, man. It comes up in about an hour and a half now. We're close. Like I said, for everybody, I want y'all to go check out my mock draft one last time. Of course, we're going to know that stuff is debunked and half of it is wrong for certain before the draft even starts, I can tell you. Also, I looked at the Lakers draft area where a lot of mocks are having us in the second round. And since we moved up to 40, we're going to get us a really nice player, you guys. I think, and I said this already, this ain't nothing new, but given the fact that we got out at 47 and got us 40, we are in a position to draft a player that is likely going to fall out of the first round that should go in the first round. Some of them really cool names of guys who are really, really talented should be right there for us. Right there. It's a lot of them, too. And so to say I'm excited about 40, I'm almost as excited about 40 as I am about 17, because there's a chance that the guy I wanted us to take at 17 may actually be available at 40. GG Jackson. As far as his stock has fallen, there's a legitimate chance to believe that he might actually be available for the Lakers with our 40th pick. And I have him mocked 17. Now, the likelihood that he's there probably ain't too high. I don't think people are down on him that much, but it seems like he got in a little bit of trouble in regards to his maturity. And since he's the youngest player in the draft, and you got all this Ja stuff, this Zion stuff, all this, I think that people are a little down and sour on any type of controversy of any kind. Also, Miller, I think Miller's going to fall tonight, y'all. If Charlotte doesn't take him, I think he's going 4 to Houston. I already said that today, too, but I'm going to tell y'all again. I just watched a little ESPN kind of roundup on him, and he talked about the circumstance. I didn't like his answer. And I'm not saying I didn't like his answer from a character standpoint and me judging the kid. I'm saying from a PR standpoint, I don't think he did himself no favors. No favors at all with what I just saw on ESPN. It's just, he's still a young child. He's still 20 years old, so his empathy and, you know what I mean, it don't come across like he really get it at all. And like I said, it's not on him to get it at 20 years old, especially in the culture he's being raised in. It ain't on him to get it. But you just hope that his heart would be bleeding a little more for the circumstance when you're talking to the wide public who's skeptical about what it is that they saw there from and all of that. You're trying to get drafted. I felt like he lost some ground tonight. I thought he lost some ground tonight in a real way. So as we're approaching an hour and away from draft time, I still believe that Scoot Henderson is going to the Charlotte Hornets and will be traded from there. And I think it's a good chance that somebody else wants Amen Thompson and likely will trade for him with the Portland Trail Blazers drafting him. I really think that. I think somebody going to want Amen Thompson. And Portland's going to be right there in a position to help them facilitate that player to them. Maybe the team that wants Scoot that can't get Scoot will probably trade up to get Amen. Because it makes sense to me. They're both point guards. Even though you don't consider it, they are. So if you missed out on one, you can get the other. And I think some teams may see it that way. Even though Amen has that bad broken jump shot, they look at everything else in his game, and he's going to be an all-star if he just figures that part out. And so I'm not sure that New Orleans won't want to get Amen. I'm not sure. These teams, Toronto, might not want to trade up for Amen. And if that's happening, maybe they think that Amen will fall to Houston, so they trade with Houston to get him. Because I'm trying to psych myself into thinking that Portland's probably not going to trade the pick in any way, or that Amen won't go 3. I'm trying to psych myself into thinking twice about that. But after what I just saw from Miller, I don't know. Because it's all about how those teams view what they saw or what they think we just saw and how we're going to view it as the public. If they think Brandon Miller's not going to be received well in their city, they're not going to take him. I don't know, man. I don't know. I got a weird feeling about Brandon Miller's value. I don't think he falls past 4. I do not. But if Charlotte passes on him and Portland passes on him, we could see something strange. We could see some unprecedented falling with that player. And for him, I don't think it goes past 7. Like, I don't see the Pacers passing on him. If Orlando gets a chance at him, I'm pretty sure they'll take him. So it's not like I expect him to fall too far. But if you're supposed to be going 2nd or 3rd overall and you fall out of that range, you've fallen far, especially in this draft. And again, you're going to find where it's going to get weird for teams because they're going to love certain guys. Like the Pacers really do love Jarris Walker. If Miller's there, do they just pass on Jarris Walker? Maybe. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So I don't know, man. Between the Amen Thompson's non-shooting ability, Brandon Miller's situation off the court, Scoot Henderson and the fit questions that people have. And then there's other questions about some of these guys too, like Cam Whitmore. Now it's a lot being said about his vision and how he doesn't pass well or see well on the court. He's looking to get his own shot, tunnel vision. I love the player, but like I said, he slips for me because of all of that. He slips for me because I don't like the Detroit fit. He slips for me because I'm not putting him next to Paolo Banchero. They're too similar, too alike, too many bigs already there. I don't love him in Indy, even though they can get away with it. I don't think he's a needle mover with his style versus what they are. I want that to be more of a defensive, big Jarris Walker type. I just have that in mind. I guess I watched enough Indy over the years with the Davis guys and Jermaine O'Neal till I just have an idea that that's how it's supposed to be in Indy. You need a Jarris Walker. But, you know, Hendricks would be good there too. So it's like, if all of this is going to be so iffy in regards to this draft, then the possibilities of the draft being blown open by somebody swinging for the fences and taking Koulibaly at 8 or something like that is very, very high, man. And somebody that we all really like and think is going to go in early in the draft is just by default going to fall to the Lakers or past us even. Keontae George, one of these dudes, I cannot stress it enough. One of them boys is falling. Derek Lively, somebody. And we will get them tonight if we stay at 17. But if we move up to get Kobe Buffkin, I'll be very happy. You may find out that you didn't need to, because he may end up being the one that falls. You just don't know. You just don't know. And I think that's also possibly what the Lakers are doing. They're trying to rise up one of the players' value that maybe they want people to think they want, so that we can ultimately have a good chance of shaking loose maybe some of the few players that we actually do want, that we think of us ultimately fall to us. Because if I'm going around telling everybody I want Kobe Buffkin, now Toronto's going to think, ooh, I must get Kobe Buffkin. And I really want Jalen Hood-Schifino or something, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, to get them back into loving Kobe Buffkin, they take Kobe Buffkin and Jalen falls to me. Ta-da! So that could be the type of game we're playing right now. And if that's the case, I hope I didn't blow it up, but I don't know nothing, I'm just speculating. But that is the type of thing I'd probably be doing. Yeah. Tell them we want this guy because we really want Jordan Hawkins. Tell them we want that guy because we really want Nick Smith. Tell them we want that guy because we want them to want that guy. And if we do that, maybe we can make a trade for them, with them, try to get something else from them that we want from them. So it's a lot of that that's possible. It never ends. And given the fact that our GM used to be an agent, yeah, it really never ends. So I like it. I like it for where we're at. I like Rob Pelinka as our GM right now. And I like our scouts, and I think we're going to do great tonight, one way or another, so long as we don't trade out of the draft for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, which I know the rest of the league would love for us to do. But I'm telling y'all that those contracts are nothing you should want, especially that Buddy Hield. No. Miles Turner fits a need. If he can stay healthy, you feel great about him. But if he goes down, he's going to make it so that you couldn't win, because he's going to eat up too much of your cap. We already talked about all this, and when it comes to stuff like that, if I don't expect you to play more than 50 games for me, I can't give you more than what it is that I want to give a guy like D'Angelo at $20 million or something like that. That's about as much as I'm giving a guy like that. And he's going to demand more than that. So I'll draft Lively and be cool. Straight up. So that's how I feel about it, man. Hopefully the Lakers are putting themselves in position to have the pick that they want, get the player they want, play this chess game, and walk out of here beating the odds and winning the draft. Because even though we're not a rebuilding team, if we start to bring ourselves some rebuilding players, the rebuild will be easier to deal with. Much easier. Have all them little dudes in place. Rounding into form at like 23 to 28 years old by the time Bron leaves, it ain't going to be hard for us to keep getting victories and attracting talent. It ain't going to be hard. So that's why I want us to stay in this draft, do exactly what we're doing, moving up in the second round, do exactly as we are. Just bring ourselves a couple role players, maybe an upgrade from a Troy Brown in the second round or something like that. That's what we could do for ourselves. So that is what I have to say, man. Salute the Kobe minute. And we got the draft coming up in an hour and a half, so I'm going to go freshen up, get ready for that, let this phone charge, and be ready for what is one of my very favorite things to do in the world, watching people's dreams come true in the NBA. So that's what I got to say. BDO 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.